how has Tantra changed my erotic life? Well, actually quite dramatically. With my first tantric erotic experiences, for me it was obvious that I don't want to return to anything that is not that is not at least aiming to integrating the soul, integrating the divine into the lovemaking game. For me, my whole life, sensuality and spirituality, they belong together quite clearly. They've been even feeding each other within my own personal experience. My first experiences of just being in touch with my soul and being in touch with what I would consider God, or like a greater sense of what drives this universe, were moments in nature, moments of being innately aware of my senses, of just feeling my hands resting on something. So for me, the world of senses and the world of spirituality, they were always naturally blending together. Nevertheless, the actual sexual experiences that I would have, with a few exceptions, they wouldn't necessarily speak to that as deeply. I would feel the sense of, all right, this is a sensual experience, so therefore it is connected to my spiritual experiences. But I wouldn't feel that necessarily the actual action as it would unfold would necessarily support that, underline that, build that up. And I would also not necessarily feel that my lovers would share this connection between the sensual and the spiritual somehow, with few exceptions. Then moving into a tantric style of exploring sensuality and eroticism, it would become like the starting point. So what I had felt intuitively, that the sensual and the spiritual, they belong so deeply together, and then sensual experiences being so heightened within a lovemaking game, it was somehow the answer to this question mark inside of me. This would now be the baseline. That's what we are aiming for, and that's what we are aiming for together. And then the practical understanding that arose from that within the experiences that I would have is that that means the entire viewpoint upon eroticism somehow shifts from being a bit of maybe the cure to an itch that it used to be before. It would move to just become an exploration in itself. It is so often compared to a walk in the park, but even that for me maybe is not glorious enough in as an analogy, but maybe even the moment of walking in nature and connecting with everything so deeply, and then being hit by the most magical treasures that nature can offer. This is more how I would perceive lovemaking from that moment on. And as it would expand in time due to applying continence, my lovers refraining from ejaculation, therefore being able to make love for hours, sometimes for many, many hours. And then what arises from that as an inner experience and as a such a pleasurable way of just removing my usual viewpoint. It's not, cannot even be called a breaking of limits. It's more just like a veil being taken away, and then being able to see, being able to experience myself when I'm not locked into a certain way of seeing myself, a certain personality. So for me, it became like a revelation, or a playground of revelation of sorts, and where not just I would be revealing myself, but my lover would do the same thing. And then through that mutual exchange and mutual experience, it would even intensify in both of us. So for me, it's like coming home somehow to something that would finally fulfill a need of my soul that I knew is meant to be fulfilled. Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.